Eva and Rocco have been married for 10 years, but clearly their marriage is on the rocks, as is the mother's relationship with her rebellious 17-year-old daughter Sophia. Tonight, in fact, the daughter is getting ready to clearly go out with a boy she likes, but her mother tarred her with questions, forcing her daughter to lie to her and admit that she is fed up with her. The angry mother leaves her room when she discovers a package of condoms in her underage daughter's purse. Eva and Rocco this evening have decided to hold a dinner party at their home with their best friends, among whom are the couple Cosimo and Bianca, recently married, he a taxi driver and she a veterinarian, who strongly desire to have a child, and then Lele and Carlotta, also in a major marriage crisis, married for 10 years and with 2 children. In addition to them is Pepe, a divorced physical education teacher, who has promised his friends to bring his new girlfriend to dinner as well. Eva enters the kitchen and complains to her husband about Sophia's behavior, but the father is clearly more sympathetic to his daughter and explains to his wife that there is no point in preventing her from having her own experiences, because she is 17 years old, so she is acting like any other teenage girl. When the wife admits to going through her daughter's purse and finding condoms, the husband gets angry and asks her to leave her alone. Meanwhile, the friends prepare to go to dinner together, but there is something strange about their behavior. Lele, in fact, looks at pictures in the bathroom secretly from his wife Carlotta, while the latter secretly takes off her panties. During the same evening there is a lunar eclipse, the beginning of which coincides with the beginning of dinner. The couples arrive, and as they wait for Pepe with his supposed girlfriend, they talk about him and how curious they are to meet this new girl, mocking him in a friendly way for his placid personality and extra weight. Pepe then arrives with 2 bottles of wine, but unfortunately alone. He justifies himself to his friends by explaining that Lucilla could not come because of a fever, although this is clearly not the truth. The other men joke that she left him or that they had a fight, but Pepe continues to deny it. Carlotta blurts out that they had promised not to mock Lucilla, which puts some strain on Pepe because he realizes that his friends are judging him and talking about him when he is not around. Bianca takes matters into her own hands and brings everyone out to the terrace to watch the beginning of the eclipse. The friends ask Pepe how long he talks to Lucilla on the phone. He replies that several hours a day, so the others say he is definitely in love. They then sit down at the table and continue to discuss marital relations, betrayals, and the routine of a married couple. They end up talking about a couple of friends from work who recently divorced after the wife discovered on her husband's cell phone the messages the latter was exchanging with his 20-year-old mistress. Inspired by this affair, Eva decides to propose a social experiment, put their cell phones on the table and let everyone know the contents of every notification, message, or phone call received over the course of the evening. Her husband Rocco immediately agrees, while the other men are visibly hesitant. Initially they try to scoff at the idea, clearly hiding something, but under pressure from their respective wives they reluctantly accept the idea. We then understand that a simple wrong notification could break up a marriage or an entire family. The women start talking about their respective husbands' cell phones, which more often than not are turned face down, so we understand that they are willing to scratch the screen of the expensive cell phone in order to hide the notifications. Sophia arrives and asks to speak privately with her father. As the two walk away, we learn that it was the father who gave the condoms to the daughter so that she could have her own experiences, but he chose not to tell the mother, already knowing she would take it badly. The first notification arrives on Cosimo's cell phone. His wife shushes everyone and reads aloud the message from an unknown number, "I want your body." Bianca is impressed by this message, not knowing what it means. The message number calls on his cell phone, and Cosimo has no choice but to reply by stammering, while his wife puts on speakerphone. The person on the other end does not answer, increasing everyone's tension, but suddenly Rocco re-enters from the other room with the phone in his daughter's hand, laughing out loud. Bianca sighs with relief, as does her husband, and strangely so does Eva. She probably would have felt guilty if the two had finished fighting over the game, but that's something we'll find out in a moment. Driven by emotion, Bianca confesses that they are trying to have a child, although they have not succeeded so far. Everyone toasts and affirms that children are the purpose of life, but here Pepe steps in and contradicts them, saying that even without children one can live happily with one's partner and enjoy other aspects of existence. Pepe states that he wants to live life for himself, especially now that he has quit school to find less strenuous employment. Friends do not understand why he did this, counting that he studied so hard to become a professor and his job paid well, but Pepe diverts the conversation to something else, hiding something. A call comes to Eva's phone from her father. Eva smoothly answers on speakerphone, and her father, not knowing about the game, informs her that her appointment with the surgeon is set for next week. The woman ends the call as quickly as possible, but by now the damage is done. Her husband Rocco, himself a surgeon, asks her which appointment it is, and the wife has no choice but to admit that she made an appointment to have her breasts done but did not choose her husband because her father does not consider him good enough. As the two argue, Pepe and Lele go out to the balcony to smoke a cigarette. Lele, clearly uncomfortable, decides to confess a secret of his own. He tells that one of his co-workers every night at 10 o'clock sends him a provocative picture of him, and it is their little game that they keep hidden from his wife Carlotta. It is the reason why he so often locks himself in the bathroom looking at pictures on his cell phone. Lele, desperate, asks Pepe to exchange the cell phones just for tonight, counting on the fact that they are identical and the photo will then get to Pepe, who being alone tonight does not risk ruining a family. Pepe initially does not want to, but counting that his friend is in extreme distress, he has no choice but to agree. When they return to the table, Cosimo receives a message from his colleague, Marika, asking him to call her urgently. The wife justifies her husband by saying that Marika is a fleshy, tattooed girl whom her husband could never be attracted to, so he sees no need to call her. Eventually the provocative photo arrives on Pepe's phone, which is actually Lele's, and everyone believes this is his new girlfriend Lucilla. The friends are happy for him and applaud him because the girl is really beautiful and young. Suddenly there comes a message on Pepe's cell phone, which is now in Lele's hand, from a man named Lucio who asks him, "How are you?" Lele, not knowing who it is because it is not his cell phone, makes up a story saying that it is one of his co-workers, although his wife has never heard of him. Suddenly Sofia calls on Rocco's cell phone, which he has to answer aloud although his wife is standing by. The daughter, knowing nothing, tells her father that she is about to have her first experience with a boy and asks him for advice. Rocco gives his daughter advice from a father who has had his own experiences in the past, without imposing anything on her but making her think about how important the act she is about to perform is, eliciting general appreciation from everyone for the kind words. However, when the father asks his daughter to talk to her mother as well, she disconnects the phone call, calling her mother a dumb who just gets angry. Eva is moved by her husband's kind words, although at the same time she is very sad about her relationship with her daughter. Messages from Lucio continue to arrive on Pepe's phone, and after that also insults. Everyone is astonished by this unprofessional behavior, so they force Lele to call Lucio, since no one but Pepe knows that it is actually his phone. Things go extremely wrong, because it turns out that Lucio is actually Pepe's boyfriend, who is homosexual but keeps it hidden from his friends and their criticism. Lucio realizes that Pepe went alone to the dinner with his friends, consequently he is offended as he believes that he is some kind of a disgrace to him, and leaves him. The situation gets really complicated because his wife Carlotta now believes that her husband is cheating on her with a colleague from work, so he has had 2 children with her and they have been married for 10 years but now it turns out that he is homosexual. Everyone reacts very strongly and negatively to this discovery, especially Cosimo, who is apparently displeased and angry that Lele, his childhood best friend, would never confess his homosexuality to him, but in fact manifesting blatant homophobia toward him. Cosimo proceeds to offend Lele in many ways, not knowing that he is actually offending and hurting Pepe, who is silent to listen. The situation gets completely out of hand. Marika, Cosimo's tattooed and fleshy colleague, calls him to tell him that she is pregnant by him. His wife is hurt by this because she was trying so hard to have a child. It turns out that Cosimo is also cheating on Bianca with Eva, but only Rocco is able to guess this. Eva, without being seen by the others, throws back in Cosimo's face her distaste for him after discovering that she was not the only mistress, so she throws the earrings he gave her at him. Carlotta is also discovered exchanging saucy messages with young boy, and under pressure from her husband she lifts her skirt to show everyone that she is not wearing panties, something her mistress had ordered her to do. Carlotta leaves, admitting that they had better separate long before, since their marriage is now just pure hypocrisy. Pepe, in turn, takes back his cell phone and admits his relationship with Lucio, saying that he will not introduce him to his friends because he wants to protect him from their homophobic reactions and also lashing out at society, as his homosexuality is also the reason he was fired from his job. Lele says he understands, because it was enough for him to be considered homosexual for an hour to discover the worst side of his friends. Everyone leaves, leaving only Rocco and his wife, who eventually embraces him, feeling remorse for betraying him even though he was the only one who was truly faithful. At the end of the evening, having concluded the eclipse, we find out that in fact Eva's proposed game never happened, as Rocco refused to do it, realizing how dangerous it could be to mess with one's secrets and privacy. Once what was really just a trivial dinner among friends is over, everyone goes back to their fake relationships. Pepe says goodbye to his friends and promises that next time he will introduce Lucilla to his friends. Eva carries on, unbeknownst to Bianca and Rocco, her secret relationship with Cosimo, who will soon learn of Marika's pregnancy. Carlotta wears the panties she had taken off before leaving the house, while Lele locks himself in the bathroom to look at the hot photo he received from his coworker. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.